California, Nevada, Washington, New York, Alaska. Broadcasting all around the globe. Live from San Diego. Welcome to the one and only Sexy Fit Podcast.
Hello and welcome. My name is Lara Sushik and I'm a lifestyle coach, founder of the Sexy Fit Method and the Sexy Fit community. From fitness competitor to fitness entrepreneur, I found my passion in helping you uncover your best self and feel sexy in your skin. Every week, I'm bringing you no nonsense, no BS, actionable nutrition, fitness, and lifestyle strategies from world-renowned experts so you can live a healthier, happier, and sexier lifestyle. So buckle down, sister. We're about to have some fun. Hello and welcome back to the Sexy Fit Podcast. Lara Sushik with an amazing expert. And in addition to running a fantastic business, you might have seen her as an actress on TV in shows like Grey's Anatomy, Justified, The People versus O.J. Simpson. In other words, she's living a life where she's fulfilling her dreams and helps women to do the same. Her and I connected today about multiple different topics in regards to breaking through limiting beliefs when it comes to health, relationships, business, and really pursuing opportunities that will help us feel more confident and overall stand in our true power as women. It was exciting and an interesting conversation. I also shared a personal story that I previously have not shared on the podcast. I know you're going to truly love and enjoy it. This was very transparent and very personal. So if you are looking to dig deep and realize how to truly fulfill all of your life's dreams, whether it's your health, your fitness, your relationships, or living a more joyous, interesting, fun, fulfilling life, I know you're totally going to enjoy this podcast. So please welcome Arriane to the podcast. Also, I wanted to let you know that the launch of the Sexy Fit Method book is officially scheduled for January 12th, and I cannot be more excited to bring this step-by-step comprehensive guide to really guide you on your journey to mind and body transformation, to help you achieve a lifestyle shift and a lifestyle change that you truly deserve that works on your schedule, whether we're talking about nutrition and fitness, and really combine most important parts when it comes to transforming our body and mind. I opened doors for the Street Squad, the Sexy Fit Street Squad, and it's basically 100 women who are the embodiment of what Sexy Fit stands for. So if you're looking for a supportive community of women that will help you get motivated, and if you think that you can contribute in any way to help get the word out and truly stand in your position as a leader for other women to help them also transform their lifestyle, please join the Street Squad. It is a free group, and it really is truly about sharing the Sexy Fit message with the women who have the same values and the same motivations and the same ideas as you. So I'm so thrilled. You can fill out the application at sexyfit.com/Street Squad, sexyfit.com/Street Squad. And I cannot wait to meet you. We're already having a really great time. We have an amazing community manager there. So lots of goodies, lots of free things there for you to just help spread the message. So thank you so much for listening, and thank you so much for being here with us and being a part of this mission and this message. And let's dive into the interview, and we'll chat soon. Hello and welcome back to the Sexy Fit Podcast. Lara Sushik here, your host with Arriane Alexander. Arriane, how are you?
Hi, I'm amazing. I'm so happy to be here.
I am so excited to have you on board. I am silly excited about the little powwow we had before we even started the recording. I mean, Arriane dropped her shirt and everything. She was like, I'm ready. I thought she was going to do a boxing move and all.
I did. I started talking to Zlata and I got hot and I had to start taking my clothes off. But it is a sexy fit podcast, so that's appropriate.
It is very appropriate. Everything is appropriate here. Like being yourself is super appropriate. Before we dive in, I mean, we all heard your bio in the beginning and all of your beautiful experiences. Could you tell me what inspired you to start your business and what inspired you to start helping women in the capacity that you help them? And what do you love most about it?
Oh, I love that. Such a good question. So I started my business because I was at a point in my life where kind of nothing was working. I basically had gone from a career where I had a hugely successful career in the fashion business, and I had plenty of money and a great income and savings and, this very, call it glamorous life. And I walked away from that because I didn't know what was next. I just said, it's just not this. Whatever is next is just not what I'm doing now. So I left, walked away, was like, okay, Spirit, show me what's next. And what came rushing in was I basically started in the entertainment business, and which was awesome. And I love my business in the entertainment business, but I basically made no money. And so I ran through all my savings. So I went from having hundreds of thousands of dollars in accounts to literally zero and like minus zero, like minus $60. And I was freaking out and having panic attacks and was at this really challenging stage in life. And that's when I had to fully surrender and just say, okay, Spirit, obviously I don't know how to do this. I don't know what to do. I just need to be shown how to use my gifts and talents to be of service on the planet. And I asked that question for 32 days, 32 nights. I went to bed every night. Spirit, show me how I can use my gifts and talents to be of service on the planet. Nothing came. And on the 32nd day, I got a call from a business in Los Angeles, and they go, do you teach classes on image for women and how to brand themselves for business? And I went, sure, of course I do. I totally teach classes like that, which of course I'd never taught a class like that in my life. And it was just literally Spirit handing me this opportunity for me to say yes. And I taught this class and it was awesome. And I realized I had such a gift for being of service in this way I can see the full picture for people really easily and then put it together. So that literally started my coaching practice, is working with women around their businesses and how they brand themselves and their image, how they portray themselves. And that started my coaching. And then it just kept building through the years. And fast forward to today, I have this awesome business where I work with amazing female entrepreneurs and businesswomen all over the world. And it's so much more than image and branding now. It's life, it's business, it's inside, outside. It's so much fun. And I think that's the most fun for me now, is literally seeing the transformation. I mean, it's a literal transformation of when women start working with me, where she might be in her life as far as her levels of confidence, her levels of how she feels about herself, her levels of how she shows up in her life and her business, and to literally walk a woman through the transformation where after a very short amount of time of working together, she's feeling so much more confident. She's feeling her business is moving forward. She's actually taking action on the things she's always wanted to do. She feels more purpose in her life, and she feels more joy and happiness in her life. So for me, I mean, I can't imagine a greater gift. I mean, I get to be of service in this powerful way and support women in their lives in such a powerful way. And I laugh because I'm like, how did, this is amazing. Thank you. So it's all super great and joyful for me.
I love that. And, for some of us listening, we can go in this place and like, why did she leave that job again? Because that's what, I thought that's what I wanted. And I want this glamorous job and, and the savings and all of these things. I don't talk about this, and this is not in my book. This is not in the blog. This is not anywhere. But before I started Sexy Fit, I had a very profound moment. I was working a job that I did not know at the time. I manifested for myself. Like, I manifested myself a job. I was sitting in a coffee shop and I was like, I want to travel. This is legitimately how it came about. I want to travel. I want to work in fashion, and I want to know what it's like to experience that world. And I want to have a meaningful career in that, and really be, because I thought like confidence had this one layer of a look of like successful, excuse my language, super bitch who's like running the world fueled by coffee and just being busy as hell. So that was my idea of success at the time. I mean, I was 22 years old. Okay, just give me a little break here. So, and little did I know, a month later, a little translating job turned into a job where I traveled to Milan fashion show, Hong Kong fashion show, Dubai fashion show, Moscow fashion week. Like I did all of the fashion weeks that you could possibly think of. And I was in that, I'm going to repeat the word, I was in that super bitch role, like having the editor of Russian Vogue on speed dial and like cursing through every other word and like running on coffee and alcohol, because that's what you do after a stressful day of work. And it was all beautiful. Like it was exactly what I had envisioned. And then I remember having a very profound moment when I was picking out models for the fashion show to walk in the fashion show. And there was a specific piece of clothing and it was a fur designer. So can you imagine how thin the girls need to be like to model fur? And I remember kind of like going through 5, picking one, shutting the notebook. I was like, this one. And we walked out and this was it. And I remember, other girls crying, and I was like, what are they all crying about? And, because I'm on that hyped up energy of like power, blah, blah, blah. And, I want to talk to you about the difference between power and confidence and all of those things. And I remember one girl crying and she said, she's speaking Russian. She's like, I'm just not good enough. I'm not thin enough. I'm not pretty enough. And in that moment, my heart melted. And I was like, I'm in a job where I put women down. I'm in a job where this is the wrong definition of power and success. And I don't want to be this way. I'm on this earth. I'm on this planet to build women up and not put them down. So it may all sound so amazing. And like you talk about entertainment industry, I've been in movies, I've been in series, I've been in all of these different things. But I feel like it just comes down to like these shallow goals, and like not shallow goals, but we thought that they're meaningful at some point. And then we have an opportunity to really see things through. For you, it was the spirit. For me, it was the holy instant, if you would. And really to see that you need some help in guiding you through the journey. So I love that you shared that story. That's big and beautiful. Yeah. And, I don't know if my story connects with you at all, but it's these moments we need more of, and like the sober moments of an ask. Yes. For what we truly need. So what's a common thread? I haven't shared that story. I can't believe I just talked about that.
I love that you shared that, because what I hear in that is, by the grace of God, you had that insight. And I think that I think what you're speaking to is that, call it divine intuition that's in every single one of us, and the divine purpose that's in every single one of us. But it's so easy not to listen to it. It's so easy to get swept up in the day-to-day life of getting shit done and working and making money and taking care of a house and kids or whatever, that like that voice gets shut down until there's space for it to evolve and listen to it, because we all have it.
We all have it.
We all have it. It's not like some of us get it and some of us don't. No, every single one of us has that knowing. And I think every one of us has that desire to support others and to be of service to others. And especially as women, it's our tribe. It's innate in us to thrive and support others, but we grow up in a world where that's not necessarily honored or encouraged. It's kind of the opposite of what you say, like, putting models on a pedestal, but then, oh, she's not skinny enough or pretty enough. It's a weird world that we live in. So we all have that innateness that wants to bring forth kindness and love, but sometimes it gets clouded by the world, the consciousness.
And I think it gets clouded by the imagery that we're offered up. Does that make sense? Like,
100%.
For me, growing up, this was the perception of success. this was the perception of being a successful woman. Like, dunk your head in the sand on all emotions. Like, don't give anybody a break. Don't give people second chances. If they want it, they will work really hard, and it doesn't matter what they feel. Like, it was like this twisted idea of success. I'm completely the opposite of that. I'm the most compassionate and selfless person at this point. And that's the definition of success for me. And you're so absolutely right. We have that inner voice and we have that inner guidance, and it just comes up at different moments to really give us a gentle nudge.
Or a big kick in the ass.
Yes, I did that. I just did a podcast episode on the book. Like, my book's coming out in January, and I was like, you guys, this was not a gentle nudge. This was like a nice kick in the face.
Yes, as it goes.
As it goes. So, I'm very curious because, this is a health and fitness podcast, and it's more than that because we know that health is the foundation of our life. But what's a common thread in all of, our relationship with food, our relationships in life, our relationship in our business? What's a common thread that can help us be successful and show up in a way that feeds our soul and really helps others?
It's a great, I love that you're asking this because I'm always taking notes as you're talking, sort of basic, so I can, because I look at things and then it kind of becomes clear. So what I find is how you do one thing is how you do everything. So for instance, I'll have a client came to me and she's very, let's call it, quote, successful in her business. And again, successful in business means a different thing to every person. So she has a really great business. And she has a really good relationship with her body. Like she eats really well and she works out and she's good in that department. And then her love life, as she would call it, is a hot mess. And so I'm always saying to her, it's not separate. She just thinks it's separate, because how you do one thing is how you do everything. So for me, the opportunity is to always find out what are the common threads in what you're doing that's working really well, because whatever's working well in one area of life, whether it's your food and your body and your relationship or your business, you get to carry that over into other aspects of life. And the same thing is true for what's not working well. So it's finding that thread, because it's like I explain this to clients this way. Spirit, life, sunshine, God, whatever you want to call it, doesn't look at your life and go, well, she's got it going on a business, but we're going to keep the body thing separate and we're going to keep the relationship thing separate. The sun doesn't shine on you differently. The sun shines on you fully in all aspects. It's only the human form that says, oh, I'm really good in business, but I really suck at relationships. And so it's interesting to see what stories we're telling ourselves, because when we can see what's the common thread in those areas, that's when we can start to shift it. So for instance, if there's someone I can use myself for an instance. I'm a good for instance. So I'm really committed to working out, and I love to work out. And I didn't used to be like this. Like I didn't ever work out in my 20s, and then for the last 10 years, let's call it, I'm really consistent. And I love to work out because it feels good, and yes, it's vanity as well, because I like to look good. But mostly it's because it really feels good. So I'm very consistent and disciplined in my workouts. Yet sometimes when it comes to my business and it's stuff that's really hard, like technical back end website stuff that I'm like, I don't want to do it, I'll be like, I'll just, I literally will go work out instead of doing my, let's call it, office work. So I will hear myself say, well, I'm just not very disciplined. But that's not actually true, because in my workouts, I'm super disciplined. But it's only because I don't want to work on my business back end. I don't want to do the technical stuff. It's not that I'm not disciplined. I just don't want to do it. So I have to be really honest with myself and see where I'm making excuses for things. And even with food, it's because I eat, call it 90% healthy, and then 10% will be like a binge, which I'm still working on that. It's like, I don't like the bingey aspect of how I eat, but it's there. But that's where, again, I'll become a victim to what I say, because I'll go, Well, I just am a sugar addict, and like, I don't know how I could ever give up sugar fully, which that's a very victim place. That's a very unempowered place to come from, saying that like sugar has power over me. Whereas, it doesn't, nothing else has power over me in that way. So I have to look at my own inner dialogue and the stories I tell myself, because basically none of it's true. And when I can find out, how am I so disciplined and focused in my workouts, and how do I transfer that over to the areas where I'm not as disciplined and focused? And then I can start to shift things. So does that make sense?
It makes perfect sense. And that's the first chapter of my book. It's the stories we tell ourselves for why we have not been able to achieve certain progress or certain belief systems that we have. And, for the back end, it might just not be your thing and it would be better to outsource it. But it's that awareness that we have to bring around that particular subject, because we're not all perfect. And as far as relationships go, saying, oh, I really suck at relationships, or I really suck at nutrition and fitness. Well, yeah, you're going to, because that's your belief. That's what you're convinced about. And that's how you're going to act. You're going to give up all the power, let the fear take over, and have that level of negative self-talk there. But I think a common thread that unites things, like you said, the way you do everything is the way you do anything, is things that are working have schedules and have routines. Mm-hmm. Isn't that the truth?
Yes.
So, your workouts have a schedule.
Yeah.
Your workouts have routines. So, what do you see for women, let's say, who aren't necessarily rocking it at relationships, or aren't necessarily rocking it in business, or aren't necessarily rocking it in health and fitness? Why do you think there is, other than stories, what else are they missing? Is it the confidence? Is it the belief system? What is it?
It's, yes, it's definitely belief systems and definitely confidence. So I'll give you an example. So one of my clients, she has what she would call it challenges in relationships. She's not been married yet, and desires that. And she's been dating, and when we worked together a couple years now. And so okay, so I'll just give you an example of her last experience. So she started dating this guy, and there were like 18 red flags when she started dating him. Like the first time she starts telling me about him, I'm in my head, I'm hearing the red flags, and I'm gently reflecting that to her. And she's like, yeah, but I think I should just give it a chance. And like, he's really great. And I'm going, okay, so she's going to, go on this journey, and she'll see what the lessons are. So of course it kind of goes down in flames. But what happened is her limiting beliefs became so clear, because what she kept saying is, what did I do wrong? And why did I do this again? And I am so bad in relationships. So she's literally telling me 3 limiting beliefs that she has, that A, she must be doing something wrong. B, that this is like all her fault, that she did it again. And C, that she is horrible in relationships. So those are all limiting beliefs that are inside her unconscious mind, running all the time. So if she's running, as I was trying to explain this to her, if that's like her, okay, so how I describe it is this. Your unconscious beliefs, your limiting beliefs are like your hard drive in your computer. And your conscious beliefs are like your desktop. So we kind of we think we run on conscious beliefs of what's on our desktop, of whatever that is, of these points of views of life. But what's actually running the show is the hard drive. That's what's creating the images and pictures on our desktop that we see and we experience in life. So in her experience, she was running these beliefs from her unconscious mind, that's even that one that's, I must be doing something wrong, which I hear all the time from women. So if that's her belief, then her personality, her ego structure, her physical world reality is going to do everything it can to prove that that belief is true. So every relationship she brings in, there's going to be something that happens that she's going to once again turn it around on herself and go, see, I knew I must be doing something wrong. So therefore it's true. I must be doing something wrong. So it's this pattern. It's like a circle, a circular pattern that always happens until we can address the limiting belief and shift it. And I'm such a huge fan. I work with my clients on this all the time of really addressing and identifying these limiting beliefs and shifting them. Because once we shift out of them, for instance, when she starts shifting into forgiving herself for ever having bought into the belief that she's doing something wrong and start shifting into a thought that's more empowering, a belief that's more empowering of, oh, wow, it's not even possible for me to do anything wrong. I don't live in a world of right and wrong. I just live in what is and respond and react from that place. And what if I'm doing everything right? What if everything is working exactly as it needs to work for me to learn the lessons that I need to learn? So that's a more empowering place to live. So therefore, her relationships show up differently. She experiences, even if it's the same guy, she's going to experience it different because she's not going to be blaming herself the whole time.
Absolutely.
She's going to have more compassion.
Absolutely. And here comes in the way you do everything. The way you do anything is the way you do everything, because we also start diets that have 17 different red flags. But we tend to ignore the fact that I can't eat gluten, I can't eat dairy, I can't eat cookies, not even if they're paleo cookies. Like, not that I'm a fan of paleo. And maybe paleo is like, or I can't have pizza and I can't have wine, I can't have that. And just like the guy we're looking at who is just screaming with red flags, we yet jump on another diet that has also 17 different red flags. And we start to think, wow, I must really suck at this dieting thing. And B, I must really be doing something wrong. And I'm just really bad at this. So we might do that in one area, but not do that in another area. And that's quite absurd if you think about that, because that's what leads us into the vortex of negative self-talk, into the vortex of missed opportunities for joy.
Yes. 100%. It puts us in the downward spiral and it keeps us out of the joy. And what I totally hear that about diets and food and nutrition. There's 18,000 ways to, like everyone's got a different way to eat and a different way to work out. And what I find is when we can continually pull back from those limiting beliefs that yes, we're doing something wrong, or we don't know how to do it, or I guess the biggest ones that I always hear from clients or in general is like, I must be doing something wrong. I'm not worthy. I don't deserve it. So those are kind of the core, beliefs that, I won't be loved. It kind of drills down to those. And so when we can start shifting those, then everything else can look different. So for instance, with food, if I always think that I'm doing something wrong, and if I'm doing something wrong, then I basically won't be loved. And again, this is very deep. This is very under the surface layers that we're talking about here. But if I can kind of drill down what's really happening, and for instance, if I'm doing an eating plan and I can't stick to it and it doesn't work, and I start blaming myself and go, I must be doing something wrong, and therefore I suck, and therefore I'm never going to be loved, and like I'm not worthy, then that's just going to take me down this awful vortex. Versus, what if I can relax and really trust that there's an inner knowing within me that's already in balance? That there's such a beauty in my life, my heart, my life, my loving, that already knows how to fuel my body in a way that feels really good for me. And that I can work out in a way that really feels good to me. Instead of always trying to prove that I must be doing something wrong by starting another diet and messing it up yet again. Instead of living in a place of trust that my body already knows. My heart already knows. Can I really listen to myself and trust that voice and be so loving and kind to myself in the process of getting back to this voice? So even in the diet, it's like the kindness. When I fall off the wagon on a quote diet, can I be so kind to myself without making myself wrong again? And that's how we shift it.
And what you talk about, it's such a tamed kind of like a knot, right? Is untying that knot for why a lot of us women feel like we're not worthy of getting a manicure, or we're not worthy of a transformation. We're not worthy of a husband. It's a deep-rooted, deep-seated limiting belief that's really at the core of everything that we go through. Or, you know, I was writing a pitch to Gary Vaynerchuk the other day, because why not? And I was talking about the book because, you know, he grew up in Eastern Europe. His mom's Eastern Europe. His mom's Russian. He's Russian. So it's like, you know, it would be really cool because we have a lot of similar beliefs, like self-awareness, you work for the things that you want in life. Like we have a lot of similar beliefs. And I was looking at, you know, the whole picture, and I was like, wow, the second conscious. I'm like, wow, there's really no way that he would ever have me on a show. This is not a business book. This has nothing to do with anything. And I was like, really? Really? You think that somehow that none of that is true? The book has a lot to do with health and fitness for entrepreneurs. The book has a lot to do with self-awareness. You have a lot to talk about with the guy, and I think it would be really fun. So why not try it? And I was like, yeah, I totally just, and what I was saying to myself is this book and my knowledge is not worthy of being on this show. How absurd. Mm-hmm. Like, how absurd is that? To not even go for it if that's the belief that I have. So, and we have these beliefs, and we have this self-doubt. And like you talked about, an inner knowing in your body and in your system. I feel like we might be in each other's head in a way, or we're like on some sort of, you know, journey together, because I talk about this in the book. I talk about going from self-doubt to like this undoubted trust in your system that your system already knows. And once we go through a couple different questions and a couple different layers, and we really truly ask, what does this body need today? Like, what does this body need today? And your body's not going to go, well, I really want cupcakes. And you can go, okay, what do you really want today? And it's like, I just really need, and then you will hear this voice that goes, I just really need some sleep. And it will be like the most tame and beautiful and calm voice that will tell you exactly what you need to do. And I feel like when I get asked these sort of shallow questions on interviews, it's like, can you give us the top 3 tips to avoid binge eating? And I'm like, oh my God. Like, my top 3 tips is like, breathe. Just breathe a lot.
Yeah.
So, you know, so thank you for sharing that and opening up about that experience with your client. I think that's huge. I want to talk to you about confidence.
Yeah.
And I want to talk to you about confidence in all aspects of life, and sort of like this confidence muscle that we need to flex. Could you explain to me, what is confidence to you?
Yes. I love, this is like my favorite thing to talk about and share with women, I swear. So to me, confidence is listening to the true self. Kind of like we were saying, it's listening to that inner knowingness and trusting that place, and not buying into these world collective consciousness, not buying into rejection, not even believing there's rejection, not even believing there's anything other than possibilities. And so confidence is, because even what you said about your experience with Gary, what I think is great is you had all that, you know, you were very observant of the unworthy noise that was coming up, but you were confident enough to do it. Like, you don't know what Gary is going to say. Who cares? You just did it anyway. So that confidence is living fully and trusting my natural expression. And that's the most important. So if I feel like asking for, you know, emailing Gary and being like, hey, can I be in your show? Then I trust that natural expression over my fears. And so it's because confidence is it's so interesting because people think you're just born with it. Because see, people see me and they go, like, I walk in a room and I'm like tall and blonde, like my whole persona is larger than life, and I'm very aware of it. I'm like, it's like I'm a caricature of self, and I love it, and I just go with it because it's super fun. So like,
but that could also make you fold under pressure. I've seen many tall, blonde, beautiful women just go, I wish I was shorter, and I wish I was smaller, and I wish I was doing all these different things. And I'm like, oh my God, you are so beautiful and so tall, and you're all of these things. So that in of itself is such a beautiful lesson for embracing who you are and what you are in all of its beauty and presence. Because you guys, when I met you, I was like, wow, she has this beautiful essence, and your confidence doesn't come off as I know it all and I know everything and I'm all these beautiful things. It's just a very open, genuine wish to connect with someone, which is so powerful. And I love that. So anyway, I just wanted to make a quick note.
Thank you. Well, I appreciate that. And it's true because I'm super curvy. I'm not like a tiny skinny thing. I've always been what you would call a big girl, and which I hate that term, but like I've been called it 8,000 times. So I'm like, okay. So I made a stage show about it called Big, Blonde, and Beautiful. I was like, okay, I have to embrace this. Like I have to do something to, kind of knock this the other way. So now I experience the confidence in self because my confidence in self isn't an outer experience. It's an inner experience. It's confidence and trust in my expressions. So for instance, I met you at Gabby Bernstein's book event, and there were a lot of, let's call it ways for me to be intimidated there by looking at people that I'm like, oh my gosh, she's so successful and she's so much further along in her career than me, and blah, blah, blah. All the noise in my head. I heard even, of course, projecting it all into Gabby of like, oh, she's so famous and she has books and whatever, all this stuff. Instead of, I caught it though. I caught myself doing it and I went, oh, okay, that's great because that's that person's experience. How do I come back to myself and trust my expression? And I will talk to who I need to talk to, and I will connect with who I need to connect with, and allowing and not being afraid of that. So that's where even for me, who I pretty much run on, I'm pretty confident, like 90% of my experience is very confident experience. But when I go into that place of fear or intimidation, I lean on my creative expression and my being of service that will overpower the fear every time.
What is that fear for you?
The fear is, it still is like rejection, like not being good enough and I guess it's not as much, I don't usually use the word rejection. I think it's just being not good enough. Like I'm not good enough to connect with this person. And so when I think that or feel that, then I literally go, that is just whatever. That's so silly. And I go, how can I be of service? In this moment, how can I be of service? And every time I switch it into how can I be of service, I get out of myself and then I experience more confidence. And so that's what I'm always, because women are always like, oh, how do I be confident like you? That's when I say we're not born with it. It's practiced. It's building the muscle. It's taking action steps to build the confidence. And it's having the mindset of being of service so that we can actually move forward instead of staying in the fear.
And this is so applicable for every one of us because we can be in meetings with quote unquote bigwigs, right? Or we can be in a meeting with a boss. We can be in a meeting with a manager. You want a promotion, you want a raise. It's not about you. It's about how you can be more of service to the company, or what kind of value can you bring. And don't get hung up on, oh my God, I can't bring any value. You always can bring value because you're you, and that's your unique value that you can bring. I found that very interesting, Arriane, that you mentioned that, Arriane. I'm really good with names. Can you tell? It's very interesting because Lori Harder posted something about the event. It appeared on her Facebook page, and she said, I was in a room of women and I felt so intimidated and I felt like not myself, and it took me a little bit to get out of that emotion. when I was at that event, I don't know if it was like we were just coming out of a Mercury retrograde or what was going on. This was a beginning of my journey to nursing my book back to love and really reconnecting with my business and really reconnecting with people. I connected with only a few amazing women there, but I was so not even in my element. I was so not in my space. It was so funny because the connections that I made were amazing. And I was like, talk about being guided to exactly who you need to talk to and trusting the process and trusting the journey. So that was so cool. I feel like we all have that. Even the most confident women do. I mean, look at Lori. She's got a successful multi-million-dollar business. You know, look at me. I have a podcast and I interview amazing women like you. And look at you. You have an amazing business as well. And it's a muscle we have to flex. You're absolutely right. Where do we start?
Good question. We start with first taking teeny tiny action steps to build the muscle of courage. So how this looks is, even if so what I find is it's the way people get, let's call it, hindered by confidence is actually reaching out, because this world is built on relationships. That's all we're doing is creating relationships for whatever it is in our lives and our businesses. If it's a relationship with our body, whatever it is, it's all a relationship. So in our world of technology, that can get missed sometimes, and we can get busy. So for instance, one way to build confidence is when you're at line in Starbucks or when you're at line at your grocery store, is you actually talk to people. I know this is a crazy thing. Instead of being on your cell phone and like in your own world, you actually engage with life around you, because it takes confidence to engage with life around you, because you don't know what kind of response you're going to get. So even in those moments, it's the teeniest tiny way to start building confidence, because the more that you can feel confident in, at the grocery store, at Starbucks, in being able to engage with life in a way that is, feels good, and it's like, cause we're all just people. We all have we all just want to connect. And that builds the confidence of, oh, I can actually connect with others in a fun, playful, engaging, expressive way. That just can be a silly conversation. But the reason it builds confidence is because we build the muscle that it's okay to reach out. Because if I can reach out, it's so small, but it's like, if I can reach out to someone at Starbucks that I don't know and just have a short, easy conversation, then maybe I could reach out to someone in business that I had been wanting to reach out with, but I've been a little afraid to. And then when I do that a few times, I feel better in that area. And then maybe I go for a bigger relationship that I had been scared to do, and build the confidence. Cause we can't go from A to Z. I can't go from, talking to someone at Starbucks to calling Richard Branson and asking to come visit him on Necker Island. It doesn't, we don't go from A to Z.
That's good. That's good. I was like, wow, I should do that.
Exactly. You're going to get off this podcast and go call Richard. So it's building, we have to understand that, if whether it's in your business or personal relationships or your relationship with your body, because even with working out, it's the smallest steps, because we don't go from, not working out consistently to working out consistently overnight. Like, you don't go from like 1 day a week to 7 days a week overnight and stick with it. It just doesn't work that way. I mean, it can for some people, but in general, I just see it doesn't last. So it's building that muscle of confidence within self, because if I can say, well, I'm going to work out 2 days a week, and I start building the muscle of that with confidence with myself and trust with myself, then I can up it to 3 days a week. Then I do this all the time with food, because I still am figuring out food and, like I said, binging and all that. And I don't say I'm going to do a week of clean eating, because I would be lying to myself to think that because then why would I want to lie to myself? So the way I can build confidence is I can say, today, I'm really intentionally going to eat and fuel my body for energy today. And then when I do that, then I've trust myself and I've built confidence that I can do that. So I can do it for another day. So we literally have to start small in building confidence. But it's whatever is in your life that where you can think of what's the thing that's scary to me? Is it talking to people in public? Is it making a phone call that I haven't wanted to make? Is it sending an email that I've been afraid to do? And then it's literally finding accountability partners, finding a coach, doing whatever you have to do to wrap that up so you do it.
I love that. I totally love that advice. I am very intentionally not on my phone ever anymore, which is really not good for business, I have to say. And you probably will like not see me as much on Snapchat anymore. You won't see me as much on Instagram anymore. It's because I legitimately really like connecting. When I'm sitting in a coffee shop and I'm waiting for someone, I'm not on my phone.
So
I am just there. And I realized that the root of all of my anxiety for the longest amount of time was the fact that I was never present where I was. I was either too far in the past, basing my present on experiences that I had, calling it wisdom. And that's not wisdom. That's bringing your old baggage into a new conversation. You know, we have a gift of a new day every day. Mm-hmm. Or I was too far in the future and like worried about this and worried about that. And what if I don't have time? And what if they don't call back? And oh my God, that's an exhausting place to be. And really feeling present in the moment really cultivates a lot of confidence because I'm not wrapped up in a lot of different stories and a lot of different fears and a lot of different things.
Yes. Oh my
if
God.
You would. And, you know, I wanted to talk to you about leadership and courageous leadership, because when we cultivate confidence, or we already have confidence, or we took away gems of this conversation to cultivate deeper rooted confidence. I want to talk to you about leadership. A lot of things going on in the political arena that are blowing up my Facebook feed. What is your take on female leadership? What does that look like?
Female leadership it's happening.
It's happening. It's here.
It's happening. It's here. And it's so different than male leadership, because female leadership is more leadership from call it the essence of who we truly are. You know, the male leadership models are very much black, white, right, wrong, good, bad, obviously very masculine driven. And that, you know, that works in many experiences. And there's also an opportunity to bring the female leadership, which has, you know, we're the leaders in softening. We're the leaders in listening. We're the leaders in heart-centered communication. We're the leaders in soul-centered communication, because we're the ones who are here on the planet to open and receive in that beautiful feminine way that only women can. So we have to have both of the masculine leadership styles and the feminine leadership styles. And I think for right now in our world, it's so important in female leadership for each of us to understand what that means in our own lives. Not that every single one of us are going to like, whatever, be our PTA president or be mayor or be president of the United States or CEO of Xerox or whatever. I'm not meaning that. I'm meaning how to be a feminine leader in my own life. And what does that mean to me? Because all of our leadership starts in our home, in our life. So if you have a partner, how to understand how to own that balance of leadership styles in a marriage, in a partnership, of what feminine leadership means in that way. And that's the only way I can describe it. It's like knowing that we are the leaders in opening, in sharing from the heart, in softening, in listening, in seeing different points of view in a more graceful manner. That's where we really excel as women. We're the soft place. And so the more that we can own that, how important that is, how utterly important that is in our homes, in our work, in our lives, in the lives of the world, then that's where we start to show up owning that leadership that we all have.
And the more we try to lead from the masculine, the harder it's going to be. So I lived so long in the masculine. I led from the masculine, and I feel like that was my younger self, when I'm talking about fashion, career, my brief fashion career, thank the Lord. And, my perception was very masculine way to cultivate quote unquote power and what power was and what I saw as power. Probably too much Devil Wears Prada. But stepping into a leadership role where you can truly be a woman and feminine and really hear between the lines has made me a much better business owner and much better leader. And a good example is listening to myself. I had a meeting scheduled on Wednesday, and I was like, I'm not going to be present. I'm not going to be able to show up and lead here because I'm going to be exhausted as a human. As a woman, I cannot run on this schedule right now. And I'm going to move it to a Saturday. Or when I'm listening to someone talking about why they're not performing really well, I go, okay, what are you really feeling right now? Not why are you not doing what you're supposed to be doing, but what are you really feeling right now? And in the beginning, that was such a weird question to my people. They're like, what? I'm like, what are you feeling right now? Well, I'm feeling frustrated. I'm feeling overwhelmed. I'm feeling overworked. And my mom is sick. And I'm like, okay, I see the real issues here. So I feel like, stepping into that leadership role is so much easier too. It's ease.
It is ease because it is our natural state as women. It's our natural state of being. And I'm just getting the intuition as we're speaking that it's just a place that in the past has not been honored by society and the world. So, 100%. right. We build the buildings and the statues to the men who lead in a very masculine dominant way. So that very feminine side of leadership hasn't been, we're not building a whole lot of statues and buildings in honor of the feminine leadership model yet, because we are in transition of this happening so much more. So I think as women, it's my responsibility, it's your responsibility, it's every woman that's listening responsibility to own how powerful we are as leaders in our life. I'll give you an example. One of my clients, she's been married for like 15 years, and she used to have a career where she made plenty of money and her husband makes plenty of money. And then she left that career when they started having children. And so she could be the most amazing mom I've ever seen on the planet. She has like a parenting book and she's amazing. But there was still this imbalance in her mind of power because she thought, well, wait, now he's providing all the income. And so what do I bring? And so I really had to support her in reframing it into that it's an equal balance, because you have to have the masculine as much as you have to have the feminine. So what she's bringing into the marriage and the family experience is equally as important in those feminine leadership qualities as the male leadership qualities that he brings. We just haven't honored that in our society yet fully. And when we do honor those full qualities of feminine leadership that all of us have, it will look different, but it doesn't start on the outside. It starts with each of us. We have to own that. I have to own that for myself, how important it is to receive, to be the soft place, to be in the loving, to honor the feelings, to listen, to communicate, to share, to invite in conversations, and own that that's extremely important.
And not less important than being a money-making machine.
Exactly.
And I think it's a perception of power that we somehow tie with the monetary value of ourselves. And it's societal standard, a limiting belief, a thought, something that we've embraced and thought that this was true leadership or true value or true influence. And the truth is we can all be leaders in our community. We can all be leaders in our here, truly. Yeah. And that's what it's all about. I really want to thank you for being here today and having this beautiful conversation and allowing this beautiful conversation to take place, because I feel as confidence and courage and leadership is so hugely valuable, hugely valuable. Can you say that? Hugely valuable? It is now. It is now what I'm saying. My podcast, I do what I want. It's hugely valuable, but it's of value for us women. And for me as a leader, I must bring those qualities to the podcast beyond health, fitness, and, you know, that's a foundation, and that's where we start. And really leading with confidence and courage is what it's all about. So is there something I didn't ask you today that you really wanted for the audience to take away?
Yeah. You know, what just comes to mind, I love that you asked that. What a great question. I know what comes to mind is I just want every single person listening to know that you are so extraordinary. And that sounds cheesy, but what I mean by that is your inner knowing and inner beingness is so gorgeous and light and full of sunshine and rainbows and puppies that it's in balance already. It's already extraordinary. It's already full of confidence. It's already full of leadership. It's already full of loving. It's already full of balance and peace. And when we can continue to remember that, because all that's happened is sometimes we forget that. When we continue to remember that, then everything in life starts to look different. And I see this all the time with friends and clients that I work with and whomever. When we can start living from this place, then everything shifts. It's so subtle, and life you'd have the same job and the same husband and the same body, but the whole experience of life shifts when we can really start going, oh wow, like I really have this inner beingness that's already amazing and extraordinary. And so, yeah, let's all just do that.
Can we all just do that, please? Thank you. Meeting adjourned.
Mic drop.
Please vote for Arriane Alexander as president. I love that. I think it's a beautiful statement, and it's a beautiful truth that I believe many of us needed to hear right now, that you are of value and that you are the only you that is out there. And that's really the best thing that could possibly happen to you and the planet and everyone around you. So thank you so much for making the time. Thank you so much for having a wonderful conversation. And I can't wait for everyone to hear this. It will come out in a timely fashion around the holidays when we're all driving around, running around all crazy, but we don't need to be. So thank you. Thank you so much.
I have a gift for your listeners too.
Oh, absolutely. Please do tell.
Because what we've been speaking of today about limiting beliefs and confidence and leadership, this is awesome. It's so perfect. It's a 4-part video series on how to bust through your limiting beliefs that I put together, for your audience, because it really walks through what we've been speaking of today. Because that's the first step, is just really shifting out of those limiting beliefs and into more empowered ways. So anyone can go to www.arianefreebie.com, which is ARRIANE freebie, FREEBIE.com. And you'll download a 4-part video series on how to bust through your limiting beliefs. And it will, oh my God, be so supportive and amazing in this journey of knocking those out so you can step into more confidence, you can step into more leadership and more courage in your life.
Totally. And I'll connect that to show notes on sexyfit.com so you can find that there.
Yay!
Beautiful. Thank you so much. Have a fabulous day, and we'll chat soon again.
Yay! Thanks, Lata.
You're welcome.
Bye. Show must go on.
Hey sister, don't be so fast to click away. Remember to hit subscribe. And if you have a friend who must hear this, copy link and send it to her. She'll seriously thank you later.
For show notes, deals, videos, and other Sexy Fit related things, meetups in your city, please visit sexyfit.com. Stay sexy, ladies.